Hello and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. My name is Godfred Akoto Boafo. My guest today is a unique one. She changed the political landscape when she entered it in 2008, forever turning it upside down and some say for the better. She's gone on a bit of a hiatus, but recently she's come out saying she is back. Samia Yaba Nkrumah is my guest on Face to Face. Samia, it's good to have you on Face to Face.
Thank you.
We've been hunting you for a while.
I know. I've been in and out of the country.
Yes, we've seen. The last time I saw you were at the University of Makerere doing something there.
Okay, that's a while ago. Yes, but over the last 2 years, I've been traveling a bit.
Has it been a deliberate plan to just go quiet for somebody who is so visible on our political landscape?
Yes, well, I was an MP, then a chairperson of a party. So, of course, I had more of a public role to play. Now I'm an ordinary citizen. But so I have less of that visibility.
But it looks like you deliberately withdrew. Yes, you're no longer in the public space, but it looks like this was a deliberate effort not to be seen for a while.
No, we needed to do a few things, and I set up the Kwame Nkrumah Pan-African Center. There are a few things we want to do. I returned to Ghana with the sole objective of reviving Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah's vision. So you do it on different levels, political activity, but also other things. You know, we are in the process of printing his books. We just want the youth of Ghana to revisit his ideas.
It's part of the conversation I'm having with you, but you went quiet, you're back, and you came back with a big bang. Facebook post, Jomoro 2020, I'm coming.
But that has always been on the table because we started a lot of things in Jomoro. I think the people also were quite happy with me, irrespective of what happens in elections, because you know elections are not just what the people think of you, but they are a lot to do with the electioneering process. So I've always felt that we have to go back to Jomoro. We need to rekindle, you know, that people-centered spirit. We need to lead by example, showing how a modest, honest politician needs to conduct themselves. And also in Parliament, we need independent voices, voices that are not somehow submitting to either the majority or the minority. So I think Ghana needs that alternative voice. And I believe, coming from the tradition I come from, the convictions I come from, you know, putting just the people first, not a party, not yourself, not any other consideration. It's just what is good for the people of Ghana, what is good for the people of your constituency and Ghana. That's the only thing that fuels some of us. And we have the courage, we have the conviction to do that. So I think Ghana, the Ghanaian parliament, the Ghanaian people would benefit from a seriously independent voice that doesn't put party first, but I think puts Ghanaian first.
For that to happen, though, this belief, this conviction that you have has to be bought into by the men and women who vote in Jomoro.
Have you actualized? For Parliament, yes.
Have you been in touch, and are convinced well enough that I have a chance?
Absolutely, and I urge you to go and find out yourself. I mean, I wouldn't consider returning if I didn't think we had a very strong chance. And when I say we, I want to speak for every Ghanaian who's not strongly aligned with any party, but who just wants the country to develop and progress.
I find that a bit hard, considering the backbone of the political heritage you belong to is the Nzima backbone. So we're talking Jomoro, Evalue a Jomoro Jira, we are talking Elembele. But for a while now, it no longer belongs to the political tradition you come from. It belongs to the NPP and the NDC. And they have made significant inroads in those areas. And for a lot of watchers, they will say if the Nkrumah backbone is no longer for the CPP or your political tradition, what chance do you stand?
I don't think for parliamentary, the political tradition is the main consideration. I can speak for at least Jomoro. I mean, they've been voting different parliamentarians who belong to different political parties. It was NDC, then CPP, then NDC, then NPP now, then God knows what. So this is very fluid. I don't think we can say that the people of Jomoro or in Nkrumah land vote for parliamentary. I'm not talking about presidential. I'm talking about parliamentary. We cannot honestly say that they vote for Party A or Party B when it comes to parliamentary. I think they vote for the individual to a large extent, or what they think would bring them development and progress. So I wouldn't think about which party you belong to. I think it's what you have to offer and whether you can persuade the people to rally around your vision.
Some would say it's safe to assume Samia CPP. Will you contest on the ticket of the CPP?
It's too early to say. We are considering, I'm open to many options.
Interesting.
Yes, I definitely want to represent the people of Jomoro.
But you haven't figured out which side you want to play.
Which side what?
Be it as an independent or be it for party A, B, C, and D. That you haven't figured out yet.
Yes, I can't be for party. I can't be stand on the ticket of the NDC or NPP, of course. But I also have to consider certain reasons why I might stand. I would either stand on on the ticket of the CPP or independent. I haven't made up my mind yet. There are certain considerations.
You being indecisive about that would open room for people to say, perhaps you haven't fixed the relationship between yourself and the party your father built?
It's not a question of fixing the relationship. It's a question of being honest to the people of Ghana. And many of us, the way we were programmed politically, we put the people first. And if we see something wrong, we don't pretend. You know, we have to go beyond playing the politics of pretense. And yes, you can be diplomatic, but you have to say things as they are. If things are not well, you say them and you try and improve them. And it's not just with the CPP or other political parties. I think the time has come for the people of Ghana to look way beyond partisan politics and look at issues. We need to consider issues irrespective of which party is championing them. How many thousands of Ghanaians, their lives are impacted if Party B comes to power or Party A? Let us walk in the streets. Let us do surveys. What happens to the millions of Ghanaians, whether the NPP is in power or NDC is in power? How has their lives improved? So I think Ghanaians, we need to, and Africans, to question this partisan politics thing. It was brought in so that our voice will be heard and our basic needs will be met and our aspirations will be met. Now, if this has not happened, do we need to hold tightly to these rules? I'm NPP, so I always have to vote NPP. I'm NDC, I always have to vote. No, we have to go beyond that. So it's not just with the CPP or PNC or PPP, it's not just with the smaller parties, it's also something the voters or supporters of bigger parties must question. The time has come for us to go way beyond that. And I think we need to rally behind a vision for our development as a country. Not just rallying behind personalities, not just rallying behind parties. We need to rally behind a vision. And we know what Ghana needs to do. We've known since independence, haven't we? We know we need to industrialize. We've had excellent development plans. that were taking us in that direction. We know we need to have electricity for all, water for all, clean water for all, health, basic access to health for all, education for all. This is what all civilized big nations aim for. Moreover, it's part of it's ingrained in our traditional African humanist principles. We don't leave people behind. We don't see people hungry and pretend it has nothing to do with us. We believe in collectivism, communalism, humanism. It's part of even being an African. So we need to have that these factors considered when we are making policies. And we've had an excellent teacher and mentor. Kwame Nkrumah wrote copiously. We have the 7-year development plan, 1963 to 1970. Of course, it was not implemented. It was truncated 2 years after it was launched because of the illegal overthrow of Nkrumah's government. We have his books, Africa Must Unite, Neocolonialism, and he's warning us, neocolonialism. Listen, we are politically independent, but let us make sure that our policies are not directed from outside. Our economic policies, our political policies, they have to reflect what is good for the people, not what someone is telling us. We have to be careful with aid and foreign investment, because we don't have to accept anything with the conditions that might be bad for the people. We must be careful with investment, because if it comes, investors come, pick a few of our people, make them their agents, and these few will be rich, but the agreements and deals are not in the interests of the people. What's going to happen to us? So he gave us so much advice. Moreover, he said, we have urgent economic challenges that have to be addressed. We can't address them alone. We need to team up with other African countries. What is the GDP annually of Ghana? GDP, it's about what? 2008 was 47 billion, or say 50. Let's round up a bit, 50 billion. Now let's check the United States of America. Almost $20 trillion. So from billions of dollars to trillions. So Ghana, Togo, Ivory Coast, how can we overcome our challenges on our own? How can we negotiate fairly with economies that have annual GDP of trillions, and we are billions? It will never give us that fair field or fair environment to get the best for our people.
So basically, you are going for a reorientation of the political mindset, of the democratic process that we are running now. Do you feel you are going against the grain? Does that not make your task a bit more daunting to convince people, considering, yes, you might not like MPP, NDC, whatever.
I think
they are the ones who dominate the system.
Yeah,
That's the fact.
I think what I'm saying is what most Ghanaians are thinking.
But they don't vote that way.
It's not a question of we are not saying, I am saying, let me put it in this way. I'm saying that most people who follow political parties, and I mean most, are not content. I'm not talking about the political establishment. I'm not talking about the party machineries.
You're talking about the people.
I'm talking about the people who are the majority. You see, in every party, of course, you have the leadership, then you have the machinery, then you have the executives or whatever. It's part of the machinery. But that is one thing. and the people of Ghana are another, because those are a minority. If you take all parties and the executives, put them in one basket and put the people of Ghana in another, you will see that this is a minority. So I'm saying most other people who are outside the political establishment, I think, are thinking the same way I'm thinking. If you go in everywhere, if you move around the streets, this is how people are thinking, because people are struggling. Not now, not 5 years ago, not 10 years ago. It's been a constant struggle. Everybody feels it, and everybody is not sure why is it happening to us. You know, we vote with high expectations, and then after that, we are still struggling. So there is something wrong with this democratic process. It is not delivering to the people. So let us find a way, a different way of responding to this. And what to start with, for people to gain more power, is not to be restricted to parties. Then it will open up the space for us to focus on issues. Everybody will know that we want to focus on we are voting for policies and issues. We are not voting for parties. I think we need what you are calling, rightly calling, very well. I like that, orientation. But that's what we had to do. We have to do. We did that to gain independence. People were saying, but it's impossible to gain independence. The British Empire, you are challenging the British Empire. But the people responded. They came to a point where they said, okay, yes, let's imagine life with an African, purely African administration. Now we need our second independence. We are not controlling our resources. We are not controlling our economies. The people don't know and understand what's happening. There's a lack of sufficient, a consultation with the people, decision making. The people feel a bit, well, we don't understand exactly what's happening. The news comes, but you don't know how did it originate? What brought us to this point? So people need to become more powerful and more involved. So yes, it's an orientation of kind, but we need that second independence to happen, and we need it to happen quickly. You know, not even young people, but I'm sure young people must be even more impatient, because as time goes on, the problems are becoming even more intricate. You know, as time goes on, the population of the youth is growing. How are we going to work? How are we going to, these young people, what are they going to be doing?
Do you get a sense that people are interested in this orientation that you're talking about, this need to move away from the established norms of getting things done? I
think so, because people want solutions, you know. People want a living wage. People want, when they are sick, you know, they want, instead of going to beg everyone they know, they want to be able to take care of themselves. Most young people who are schooling or going to higher education, they just run around asking everyone they know before they can, for little money here and there, to make up the costs of taking care of themselves. So, I mean, life is a struggle for the average Ghanaian. So people want solutions, of course. And solutions means you start opening up your mind to unfamiliar terrain. Okay. You know?
Let me take you back a bit, because you keep mentioning what your father's plan was, what his ideals were. You look at where the party he built is, a party you chaired for some time, a party that obviously now you are at odds with.
I'm not at odds with any party, but I want...
You're not at odds with the CPP?
No, I'm not at odds with the CPP.
But you're not a member of the CPP now,
But I want things... Who said?
Are you?
Have they sacked me?
But you're thinking of contesting
I
a historical CPP seat.
No.
And it's not even on the ticket of the CPP. Your mind is not made up.
We are saying we don't know what will happen. It's too early. You are asking me.
Shouldn't it be automatic?
Ask me in a
the
few
daughter of
years.
Kwame Nkrumah contesting an Nkrumah seat, and she's thinking about.
Why are you bringing the ethnic card into it?
It's not an ethnic card.
You see where we've
it's
descended.
Not, no, but it is not an ethnic card. It's the political reality. It is your political heritage.
What is my political heritage is Osagyefo's vision. Now, if you read Kwame Nkrumah's books, even he said after the illegal overthrow, the slate has been wiped clean. We need to reorganize everything. Even he was questioning, because he was always growing and learning. He questioned the party he belonged to. That's what an honest politician does. They don't just blindly follow things. They have to question and interrogate. And if they see something wrong, they have to try and correct it. The problem with the smaller parties is clear. That's why they have not been doing well. The smaller parties have not been operating independently. And I said that. I'm not at loggerheads with the party, but I don't want the CPP or any party to be dependent on one of the big parties in the year of election. I've talked about this numerously in 2016, 2015. I was chairperson. I know what I'm talking about. The smaller parties are not independent, and that has to change. Otherwise, how can you give that alternative voice? You see? So let's not get bogged down with, oh, it's an Nkrumah seat. It's not, the CPP's is an Nkrumah seat, or I don't know how you put it. I'm struggling to put it, because no, there's nothing called a birthright. No, politics is about what is good for the people. Nobody owns any ethnic group.
But there's a reason why you chose Jomoro. You could have done Ablekuma West or East.
No, I couldn't, because according to our constitution, since I wasn't living for 5 years anywhere in Ghana at that time, I could only contest where I hail from. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, I needed to connect with my people, as we say. If you've been out of, I'm a returnee of sorts, you know, and I understand the whole dynamics of the diaspora. You return, you need a base, and your home is a base. So Nkrumah land is my home. Yeah. So it was easier for me to go to my people there and seek their understanding.
Okay.
So that is how, so there were very practical reasons, spiritual and emotional reasons why I went there. Okay. You see? So, and once I go there, I have to be loyal. If I want to contest, people have been saying, why don't you contest in Accra? And I'm thinking, you know, I started with the people of Jomoro, and we want to continue the journey
unfinished
together.
Business there.
Yes, we want to continue the journey.
Right,
so it's, you know,
okay.
So it's we have to give everybody their due. Yes,
okay.
their due.
Interesting conversation with Samia Yaba Nkrumah on Face to Face. When we return, we'll talk a bit. She talks about being a returnee. We'll find out what life was like living in exile. Welcome back to Face to Face. Now, Samia, before we went on that break, you made an interesting reference to finding your way back to your people. You spent a lot of years living outside the country.
True.
The first part of it, I would say, was enforced.
Yes, that's
because
right.
you left in '66 after your father was overthrown. You were young. How was life like living outside the country in those moments?
Yes, of course, a period of adjustment, because we new culture, different, you know, home, and then of course there's the sense of having been uprooted from your familiar surroundings, your people, your culture, your language. So we had to adapt, let's say. But luckily we were still in Africa.
And were you keeping an eye back? Were you asking your mother questions as to what was happening?
Of course, we asked a lot of questions, and our mother gave us a lot of responses. We were curious, we were children, but we understood that, you know, this is the environment, this is the mission our father had, and you know, and problems do happen. But like I keep on saying, luckily we were in an African country still. And as I grew up reading Osajifo, interviewing people who worked with him, I came to the understanding that, you know, we have to somehow pick up from where he left in terms of the way he thought, the way his policies, all the ideas he left us, you know, are things that cannot ever die because they are simply good for Africa, for Ghana and Africa. So we had, even though it was difficult being outside Ghana, but I think we had some nuggets of wisdom from his teachings that, for me personally, they kept me optimistic, and eventually they brought me back home. I mean, eventually I came back home because of that. Okay. I don't think if I hadn't read Kwame Nkrumah, I would be here today. I don't think even I would have entered active politics. And that's why I tell a lot of diasporans, you know, Africans abroad, that big ideas have to bring you back. You know, it's not a question of just thinking of diaspora investments, diaspora funds, diaspora remittances. All that is well and good, but it's automatic if you are influenced by big, great ideas to revive Africa and make it prosperous. So for me, it was Pan-Africanism. You know, the knowing that we have a mission to liberate ourselves fully, which we still have not done, to be in full control, I mean, of our land, our economies, our resources, and to unite. So freedom and unity, I mean, this is the ultimate for Africa and all Africans. That's the only way we will be able to, I think, eradicate most of our social ills. We need strength, we need numbers, and we need a common platform. Africans need that common platform of an African nation. So big ideas brought me back.
Okay.
You know?
Now, at what point, you talk about you kept reading your father. Obviously, you knew he was the independence leader of Ghana. You knew he was president. But at what point did you come to the realization like that, wow, my father is sort of as one of the most important men to have ever lived? When was that point for you? We all think our parents are the greatest, but at what point do you hit that block where you realize the whole world thinks my father is actually a really great person?
Sure, yes. As I grew older and I got involved a bit in maybe student politics, even in London where I finished my degree, I was part of the African Society. In Italy, where I lived also for some years, I was part of the African movement. I mean, it's the name of an organization that was helping immigrants integrate and all that. So my activity, let's say, my activities brought me to Kwame Nkrumah's books and other Pan-African thinkers, Sheikh Anta Diop and so many others. And so that it was very gradual. I mean, I never thought I would come back to enter active politics. No, I was afraid of politics. I was, you know, I'm thinking politics is rough. It's, excuse me to say, dirty. It's, you know, we suffered from it and, you know, it's dangerous. All that was in my mind and I never thought I would do it. But something happened, you know, when you keep on feeding your mind with ideas, at a certain point, something happens to you. And I think I had read Kwame Nkrumah's Africa Must Unite for like the 5th time. And suddenly I thought, no, wait a minute. This has to be lived. These ideas need to be practiced, need to be demonstrated. They are not ideas you take to conferences and, you know, and just talk about sitting behind desks. No. You know, he said, go to the people, be with them, talk to them, you know, understand what needs to be done. So it somehow brought me also that idea of reconnecting with the people of Ghana, gave me that courage to come back.
You must have a sense of affinity then with, we have this year of return project that is ongoing.
Yes.
What do you think of it?
I think it's good. I mean, 400 years since the enslavement of our brothers and sisters started. It's good to mark it, but it really should be the decade of return, because it's not easy to come back, and you have to learn how to speak in a way that people will understand you, learn languages, learn cultures. So it should be really a decade of return, not just a year of return. And we need to focus on familiarizing ourselves with each other. Not only Africans who've been out of the continent for many years, but even Africans from different countries who have different ways of doing things. We need, the first point of call is to become familiar with each other, what we are thinking, how we are doing things. And also I wish this decade of return would also focus on seeing how the diaspora can become involved in policy and decision making. The right to vote, citizenship. I mean, this is the ultimate. For the diaspora to return home and be part of what we are doing fully, then they need to be involved in our politics. Everything boils down to policy making. That's why this reorientation I'm talking about. I want our people, inside and out, to understand that people must take charge of decision making, must be actively involved in it. This is what politics is about. For your views to be represented, you have to be part of it. Join movements, join organizations, understand what is happening. So to conclude about the diaspora issue, yes, we need to go even further. We cannot talk about remittances without talking about citizenship, without talking about the right to vote. It disconnects. We cannot expect the diaspora to come and help us with our developments if we are not letting them be part of decision making, is it? So it's not just a healing process this year, a decade of return for Africans outside, but I think it's for us Africans in the continent. We need to heal from this idea that we are separate people. We need to heal from this idea that, we are going to make it. We are going to prosper without the 3 million odd Africans, 300, I beg your pardon, Africans all over the globe. I mean, for African unity means the continent and Africans everywhere. And this is why immediately after our independence, we became very close with the civil or human rights leaders in North America. Everybody came here. I mean, everybody who was a leader. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Cassius, Muhammad Ali.
Did you see some of these persons running through?
No, unfortunately, no. I didn't meet them personally, but I met Martin Luther King's daughter recently, last year, and I went to the King Center. So, we find our way, yes.
Because I was going to ask how it must have been like, because there were all kinds of people running through Kwame Nkrumah's house.
Yeah, because we became independent as a Pan-African state. We didn't gain our independence in isolation. Pan-Africanism helped us gain independence. That movement, Africa for the Africans, Marcus Garvey, Sylvester Williams, Edward Blyden, Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, George Padmore. These were serious Pan-Africanists. And leaders like Kwame Nkrumah worked with them, studied with them, organized with them, campaigned with them. So we started thinking, okay, Ghana, Africa, and Africans. And that is what gave impetus to the independence struggle. That wider view of, we are not just getting independent, a small country. We have to get independent and open up to all Africans, because we can't make it on our own. So Ghana was born, modern day Ghana, as a Pan-African country. a Pan-African state.
Do you get upset with, do you get upset with the recent conversations about Kwame Nkrumah's place in this country and the independence struggle? It's become founders. Something a lot of people took for granted has suddenly become contentious history. Does that upset you?
Yeah, I'll tell you what upsets me. What upsets me is that completely unproductive debate. I've said in the past, it's a sterile debate. It's taken us nowhere. You know,
a lot of people seem invested in it, though.
That's a huge distraction, because I think we must not be talking about anything unless it addresses the urgent problems and needs of the people of Ghana. I think to get involved in any debate, I refuse to get involved in that debate, because I don't see how relevant it is to addressing the urgent problems of Ghanaians. I don't see how it's going to solve Ghanaians' problems, the problems of Ghanaians today. I can't see it.
Legacy doesn't matter to you?
I am here because of a legacy, but I'm saying the debate is skewed. It's misplaced. It's a misplaced priority. Another misplaced priority to debate this issue. The history is there. The books are there. The Hansard is there. Let the people of Ghana. The people of Ghana can settle that debate, but politicians or people who are representing the people of Ghana, who are thinking of solving the problems of Ghana, let them focus on what matters to the people. Let us not become divided further on certain issues. You see, I stop and think, what would Kwame Nkrumah be telling us? I know what he will be saying. We must unite this country. We must unite Ghana and unite Africa. After all, we united around a vision for independence. Imagine if the country was split on independence. We would never have achieved it. But a big majority bought into that we need to be free politically before we can change the conditions in our country. So it's the same thing now. Let us unite around our economic independence. Let us unite around giving people greater power, greater say in our districts, municipalities. Let us unite around these things. Anything, in my opinion, that would divide the people further, whether it's extreme partisanship, whether it is a debate on who founded Ghana, is misplaced and a total waste of our time.
You are clear in your mind what the history is.
I am clear in my mind, and of course, and I think the people of Ghana have to decide. You know, with these things,
but some of these things are done by men. So I'm just asking you this. There's a new curriculum coming out. A new history book is about to be written. Are you saying you would not be bothered if you took that book off the shelf and read it and realized that this is not the history I know? You would not be bothered by that. You would think, okay, let the politicians do what they do. You don't think that impacts the next generation?
Of course it impacts the next generation. So let us come up with our books too. We are writing. We are not sitting idly. We also, like I'm saying, consult the Hansard. Where are the Hansards? Where is the motion of destiny? You know, where are all these things that happened and were recorded not only in Ghanaian books, but even in foreign documents, foreign newspapers, foreign publications. They were about, at independence, I don't know, I hear there were about 600 odd journalists from all over the world. I mean, there's so much documentation, so much. So we, as Ghanaians, as Africans, we need to consult these. This is part of our education, you see. And then, yes, if we feel a book is wrong, we address it. Why not? We can have a committee. We will address all these issues. But what I'm saying is I don't think we should fill in the airwaves with people shouting at each other as to this is a founder and this is a... I thought that was such a long time ago. The people of Ghana know. The people of Ghana know. And the history is documented fully. Can we please talk about a living wage, how much people earn, the cost of living, our hospitals, our schools? Can we please talk about these things? I'm sure that's what Kwame Nkrumah would want us to be focused on. I know that's what he would want us to be focused on, because he lived his life for the people. He didn't even own a house. He didn't. I mean, he wasn't. He was interested in leading example. A good example as an honest, selfless politician who's not interested in amassing wealth. He even had to dismiss some of his ministers who started with him, his right-hand people. He didn't hesitate in dismissing them when he found they were involved in any, financial dealings that were not appropriate. So politicians need to go up to that level, you know. The leader of the country should almost be like a saint. I mean, this is what we really need to do if we want to turn things around.
What have you made of the NPP in government? Based on all the things that you're talking about, time to have a conversation about living wage, access to health, they seem to have set in motion a lot of social, people-focused initiatives. 1D, 1F, planting for food and jobs, free senior high school.
Yes, free senior high school.
Things. What do you make of it?
It's good because, I mean, that was the promise of independence, free and compulsory education up till university level. I mean, so that's in the right order, but what we need to sit down and figure out how to make it work better, We have to take in all the criticism that's coming in, some of which is valid, and we need to struggle to see how to improve the delivery of that free SHS. One district, one factory. The state has to get more involved. You see, you cannot. This thing that you leave everything to the private sector. It has not happened anywhere. The state has to have a developmental mission. The state has to take charge of all strategic industries, all assets. The electricity, water, it cannot be privatized. You can open it up for people to share, but it has to be to have shares, and it has to be public, because otherwise it will be too expensive for people. You see, we have to rethink this thing of privatizing national assets, things that impact, that are a necessity, things that are a necessity for the people. How can you privatize them? Because it means they will be way beyond, they will keep on increasing in cost until fewer and fewer people will be able to afford them in the quantities they need them, you see? So we have to rethink these things. A developmental state is people-centered and is thinking of how to deliver to the people development. So if other countries force you to get into agreements which are not good for the people and you are desperate, get your other African heads of states. Get all of you, 20, 30 countries, to say no. You see? So people, we need to elect people who have the courage to say no. Right. We want our economic independence. This is what we should be striving for in the years to come. This is the mission of your generation. Others fought for political independence. Now it's your turn to fight for economic independence.
Okay, Samia, hold on for me. We'll take our final break. When we return, we'll find out the work she's doing. She has set up a Kwame Nkrumah Pan-African Center. We'll find out exactly what mission that is. Welcome back to our conversation on Face to Face with Samia Nkrumah. Samia, so you've set up, basically, what is it? Is it a center, an institution? What is it?
Yes, it's a center. It's an NGO, non-profit, but the main mission really is to promote Kwame Nkrumah's ideas. So seminars, hopefully
in country?
Reprint. Yes, in country and in the continent. we need to reprint his books, because I want us to reintroduce Kwame Nkrumah's thought to the younger generation. So Africa must unite, unassailable. I mean, this argument is even more valid today than in the 60s. So we need to understand. So what can we do? When is the institution we have, the Pan-African institution, the African Union, when is it going to step up and somehow help countries negotiate with deals or agreements? You know, we want to see unity in action. And we want not just economic integration, we want political union. Okay. You know, because everything is a political decision. Even the decision to have a common currency is what? It's a political decision. Politicians must agree, and parliament votes and what have you. So we need to think politically also. So we are saying we are promoting his thought, so his books have to be made available. His films on Kwame Nkrumah. We need to, young generation needs to visually get that sense of euphoria that, you know, the older generation had, and see how we can adapt all these victories, that euphoria, to today's situation. Because we, like we've been saying, we need to complete the independence path. We have not yet completed it. And we need to do it for our own good, you know. We will not be able to live in prosperity without getting hold of our economies. It has eluded us till now. So I think it's timely for us to have the Kwame Nkrumah Institute, Kwame Nkrumah Publishing House, Kwame Nkrumah Film, the Wakanda Kwame Nkrumah feature film, documentaries. It's time to do all that. So the center will be doing all these activities. That's the purpose of it. So alongside those of us who want to be doing political activities, they can do it, take part in elections, represent the people, and that is just one part of reviving the vision. The other part is somehow disseminating the ideas, and all with the intention of uniting this country, uniting Africans. It is of absolute vital importance that we understand why we must work together and stand together as a people.
You talk about making things like the book, and I see, for instance, I have
yes,
Africa Must Unite, a special
yes, because
edition.
we had a conference end of last year, Pan-African conference, where delegates from different parts of the continent came, and we published this for the delegates for the conference, and so we will be doing that periodically. You know.
Are we going to see abridged versions of this for
simple reading? Audio, everything, audio. Any way that
it's quite a task you have set yourself.
Yeah, but we never walk alone. There are several people who want that, who are working towards making it happen.
So moving from, and it's quite a transition from, it's also almost become like a niche area that you now want to move to mainstream, which is quite unusual considering the stature of the person we are talking about here. That it's almost become a niche area.
Okay, no, maybe I don't understand. Are you saying that
there seems to be a difficulty to get it mainstream again? You understand, in terms of the mindset, in terms of even the books, the availability, and all those things.
But we shouldn't be surprised, because the whole idea of the illegal overthrow of his government was to wipe away his influence in the minds of Ghanaians and Africans, you see? This is somebody who was committed to liberating us fully and uniting the continent, you know? So there was a counterforce saying, no, we have to wipe away off his influence. So his books burnt. I don't know what demonized. So many of us, I mean, some of us, I mean, the generation, maybe my generation, yes, we grew up, there were years when you couldn't have a picture of Nkrumah. You couldn't talk about him, you know. You only heard the bad things, you never heard the good things. Now, we are waking up from this. In 1999, the BBC conducts this survey. People are voting, popular voting. 1999, at the turn of the century. 6 years after the end of apartheid. And who's popularly voted as the African of the millennium? Who? From all over the world. Your very own Kwame Nkrumah. So that's history. It cannot be wiped away. The African of the, not the century, not the century, the millennium, by popular vote worldwide, is our very own Kwame Nkrumah. So we are waking up. We better look at what this guy wrote, what he said. You know, look through YouTube, hear the speeches, you know, see the reception from other countries, the non-aligned movement. Ghana was there with Indonesia, India, the former Yugoslavia, Egypt. I mean, something must have been happening. Ghana was way up there. So we are starting to think, okay, let us see what was so great about the happenings at the time. So we need to reintroduce ourselves to Kwame Nkrumah. We talk about industrialization. That was the plan, you know, one district, one factory. But that was in motion. There were hundreds of, or dozens rather, of factories everywhere. You see, it's the illegal overthrow that truncated all that. So I think the time has come, you know, a powerful idea, an idea that is for freedom and justice, can't die. You can suppress it for a few years, but then it comes up again, because the people need freedom and justice. We need social justice. We need freedom, true freedom, freedom from poverty, from discrimination, from marginalization, from economic domination. We need these things. We all need them as Africans. We want to walk with our heads up there as an African, proud to be an African, not having to go and beg, crossing, dying in the seas to go and do very ridiculous work. Don't want to be part. That's not how an African should be. So we are ready to think big and to go back to the ideas that gave us our freedom, our national liberation. For the next step now, our economic independence and control, our sovereignty, full sovereignty as free people.
Samia Yaba Nkrumah, thank you very much for your time on Face to Face. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm going to take one of those books with me when I'm leaving.
That's why I put them out. Because you guys, these are for you. They're not for, some of us have read them. They are for you.
All right,
you have to. You do your job, you write, city, whatever the editors tell you. But for heaven's sake, read Kwame Nkrumah.
We will do so. It's been a pleasure coming your way on Face to Face. My name is Godfred Akoto Boafo. See you next time.